and stuff like that with the space travel and
not just NASA, not just space travel. The guy that goes to put on the deep sea diving suit.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that part. Yeah.
Imagine you ain't never seen the deep sea diving suit. You on the beach and the motherfucker come out the water with goggles on, the snorkel on.
Hey, we got the brother Rod Hayes in the building. I dropped his Cash App in the comment section. If y'all want to show the brother some love, he gonna drop it. We going all the way in today. Go ahead, brother. Finish.
So you on the beach. You ain't never seen nobody in a wetsuit. And they ask you to describe them, you're going to describe damn near a mermaid.
from the foot gear to the way they swimming, that makes sense.
Yep. All that is all like, okay, so the Dogon talk about no more Amo coming out of the water.
That's
they
right.
kind of like Inky and Ainana coming out the water. And they said they had on a fish suit, remember?
Yep.
The fish suit is for underwater activities. They used to use the skins of dolphins and beluga whales to make underwater suits.
And you know what, bro? When you look at those deep sea divers that be like in those animal theme parks, and how that be dealing with like the whales and the dolphins, those black suits resemble exactly what you're saying, as if it came from the skin of a whale.
Mm-hmm. Because that's what they was using, right? And then they was using they can make it airtight. You can make the suit airtight
to the point where it fits your body like skin.
You can either make it fit your body like skin, or you can store air in the suit because it's airtight to take underwater while you're swimming, and you will control your breathing to determine how much farther you got to go underwater.
Right. So let's talk about planet Risk. People want to know if Risk is a hypothetical planet or a literal planet.
Already posted that. NASA already said they found the planet with the 3 suns and all that. I posted that shit last year. They finally admit they discovered Risk. Basically, they just didn't name it that.
Now I know that because I seen a newspaper article on it. I actually seen a newspaper article on it. But these are the questions that the brothers and sisters that's been listening to you want to know, because they kind of heavy into the Wabu doctrine or protocols or whatever, and you know they see you as the most knowledgeable right now on the platform. So I said, I'm gonna go ahead and see when the brother got some time, and we're gonna go in.
Hey, look,
go ahead, bro.
I got a new Wabian brother in Detroit. Got a damn near photographic memory for this shit. That's what I used to study with.
Okay. Is there a lot of Nuwabians out there in Detroit? Because I met some in the feds.
Look, it's undercover Nuwabians everywhere. The ones that don't tell you they Nuwabians, but they work in the office buildings downtown.
Yeah. I know exactly.
Got every Malachi book he ever wrote on their bookshelf. They around. You just don't know who they is because they ain't running around propagating the doctrine openly like that. They passing as functional retarded Americans.
Sometimes that's best, especially when you're dealing with a way of life like ours, because you become a target sometimes, and people still got regular lives that they're trying to lead and fulfill their purpose in a whole different way. So I understand that. So here's another thing. When we start talking about the planet Risk, right, and the space travel of the Riskians and the Anunnaki, who started calling them Riskians as opposed to the Sumerians calling them Anunnaki?
Well, you got to remember in Arabic, they call it Razak. Razaka is where the root word to risk is.
That's right. It means to provide.
Right. And when you calling them riskians, you just calling them providers. Right. So if it was already in the language, it was already in use, because to provide, Razak becomes the provider's riskiest. You know, but look, now we can sit here and have a risky conversation. I don't got no problem with that. We can talk about the land mass, the water, all that shit. But I'm gonna tell you this. This is one of the major distractions for the human. We want to know more about risk than we know about Earth in order for us to be comfortable with understanding that risk is even there.
I agree.
But all of our problems on Earth is Earth problems that we got to fix on Earth. We can't go to risk to fix Earth's problems. So if we want to solve the problem, then we have to deal with what's on Earth and what's in front of us. Don't get caught staring at the sky while a motherfucker in front of you coming to cut you down.
You're right about that, because that is a distraction.
For a long time, man, I didn't talk about anything extraterrestrial because I believe that we don't even pay attention enough to what's going on Earth to even be concerned with what's happening in the stars.
I don't talk about it, to be honest with you. People don't even know what I know because I just let everybody else speak, because I feel that from my perspective, there's so much that we need to do here. And we always, we do get great leaders, don't get me wrong, but every time something happens with one of our leaders, it seems to knock us back, and then it's like we have to start all over. So to me, extraterrestrial involvement in different aspects, it's nothing wrong with it, but it's like, man, do you know how far we are from where we need to be based on the fact of where we stand right now? So I can't concentrate on that. I can talk about it, but it's only to satisfy a person's curiosity, like really what I'm doing now, to be able to ask you these questions that brothers and sisters want to know, when in reality, like you said, we got Earth problems right here that we face every day. It ain't like we can get on a ship and just go to risk and start dealing with their shit, because we ain't even dealing with our own.
That's exactly my point. So a lot of times when they be asking me about outer space, the first thing I want to know, have you read State of Emergency by Kwanzaa Kunjufu? They haven't read that, they ain't ready to be worried about risk. Nibiru or none of that shit. They got Earth issues they need to tend to. I said, everybody look like us need a copy of State of Emergency. If I could afford it, I would make people be mandatory that everybody that look like us got one.
Yeah. So there has been, over the years, for the past, I would say about damn near 100 or more years, all of this talk on how the so-called secret society called the Illuminati has this effect on our life, and the plot and plan to do all of these things, which we see it come to fruition, but I don't think that people generally have the right understanding when it comes to the influence of this particular group. Can you expound on that?
So the Bavarian Illuminati are Adam Weishaupt operating in America as Morals and Dogmas of Albert Pike, off of a treaty agreement by George Washington in Paris that wasn't even signed over here. Right? So they control in the Americas and around the world. It's not a question of if it's there. It's how to get rid of them motherfuckers is the question. So that's what we've been really working on, how to get rid of them, because we can trace them back all the way to Mount Sinai when they landed. All you gotta do is match history books up with the story the Sumerians tell and the strategies of the Anunnaki, and you can weave history like a tapestry to show exactly what took place.
So what would be the strategy to get rid of them?
First, you had to identify them. We already did that. Once you got them identified, then you got to find out what they're doing so that you can undo it. We already did that with Noble Drew Ali. Now that you know what they're doing, you know who all of them are. Now you got to locate their geography, and you have to infiltrate all of their levels in order to you got to have a dog in every fight, basically. And having a dog in every fight entails you covering the same 9 areas of people activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor law, politics, religion, sex, and war. You have to counter on every one of them fronts. That's how you start taking the community back, all the way back.
So when you say we've identified them, how would you explain to the people who are not really cognizant of still who they are?
I wouldn't explain it to them. Truthfully speaking, we to the point now. If you can't see the stage show, there's no need us. Fuel. So if you get an overflow, the diesel fuel engine kicks on to add extra power to the local community. We're running out of diesel fuel. The reason we're running out of diesel fuel is because they are not making the detergents that allows the diesel fuels to be converted into fuel. And so we're going to experience that, but the sooner we separate from the system, the sooner we don't give a fuck about the system.
About paying bills.
Right. The shorter the suffering time is, the more we put into worrying about paying the bills. Because look, if everybody at the same time stop paying bills, this the problem that we really truly face with. If everybody at the same side say, I'm not paying my gas bill, you know who responsibility to fall on it at that point?
That government.
The government. The government then is obligated by demand of the people to pay the light bills. Unilaterally across the board. They already been contracted to do that. But the people are allowing them to force them to pay something with the fiat currency, which is just a marker, which is an IOU. Right? When the contract was in play, we had the sovereign right to issue an IOU as a legitimate currency under that system. Now the fiat currency system is being dismantled piece by piece. Right? So when this system is dismantled, in order for the new system to come up, millions of people going to lose their lights, their gas. They're going to try to serve evictions on y'all. But if the landlord see what's going on, he's going to suck it up and not worry about it because he's going to get compensated when the new system come up. But we going to go through a period where everybody going to have to take a little bit of this bump, this suffering shit, in order to get free, because freedom ain't free. You obligated to do something in the name of freedom in order to get free. And sometimes it requires you to make a sacrifice you don't want to make. That's why I make sure I align my business up to the point where I don't have any of those ties. Right? I got what you call residuals. The residuals come in the form of like social media setups. Since the contract has been claimed, right, or closed, and everything has been claimed by me, then I'm not really under contract to the social media. I seized that shit. I seized it for the purposes of informing the people of what's taking place in real time, right? So their contract has it's non-enforceable contract because I claimed everything on behalf of the people, right? So in my telephone, these are contracts that when I seized it, they become non-enforceable contracts. Right? Now, all we got to do is push a little harder on Trump ass, actually. The military intelligence has this shit every step of the way, and the 200 mules is just the tip of it. No, what was it called? Was it 200 mules? Yeah, 200 mules. Talking
Mm.
Now, if you know, now we just two average dudes. Now, before we get into this part of the conversation, you got to look at this. You got the greatest military team assembled in history in the Pentagon. You think these motherfuckers don't know what could be done to give the people back their shit? You think they're gonna keep overlooking this shit if I see it? I see it. They can't overlook it.
Like you said, we I would say low on the totem pole, but yeah, we two regular dudes. So you got the site, then they definitely can see it.
Yeah, because they got more insider information than me. Right? And if they got more insider information than me, and I can see it from the little bit of information I got, they know exactly what's going on. So they know. All they have to do now is they don't have to do nothing. All they got to do is monitor. They got the motherfucker hacking the computers on camera, the TV screen, the computer screen, Wiley hacking it. They got the electronic where you push the enter on the keyboard, and at the same time, it's sending all that information that's on the screen over to the computer system. They was filming that asshole while he was doing that dumbass shit. Now, how do they know where to film him at? The Secret Service, the KGB, MI5, MI6. Intelligence communities around the world been linked up to overthrow this tyranny. But in the process, they was crossing each other out left and right. So if we know it, we've seen that the modus operandi is clearly visible to the naked eye without no extra shit. They don't have to do no deep investigation, just the surface look. The MO can be seen. Now, all they have to do now is catch it on camera. That's all they got to do is catch it on camera. Once they catch it on camera, right? All they got to do then is present the conspiracy to the public. But they stalling, the white hat stalling, because they using the time that they stalling for the people to become aware of what has actually taken place. And it's not just me, it's hundreds of us on social media that's telling the story. Right? So if it's hundreds of us on social media that know the story, thousands of us is now receiving the information.
And that's going to be that snowball effect.
That's where we at with it. Sooner or later, this shit got to be brought out in the open because they can only hold it a secret for so long.
Yeah, we out of that age.
Yep. So when they get to the point where they can't keep it, where they can't let the narrative run its rogue course, rogue also spells rouge, which means red,
Right.
which ties to the Red Lodge. When they get on running its course, it has to be made known to the public, because you can't change the government over and don't put the people in the position to know that you're changing the government over. We getting rid of these motherfucking rapists, pedophiles, baby rapers, motherfucking child traffickers, women traffickers. We getting rid of these motherfuckers. Right? And the only way we gonna ever be aware of that is if somebody come along and tell us. So once we all become aware, we all get on board with the agenda that we agree. The agenda that affects the most people is to reclaim the earth. That's the only thing that we can do that make any sense. Exercise the first right to the earth right, which is the women's right to the wealth of the earth. Then you exercise the blood right of the KNG family leadership role, which is you got to be a straight bump. Right? I mean, you got to stand up, take the motherfucking drama, whichever side it come from. the wicked or the righteous, but you don't got to get involved in that shit. In your God mind, you above all that shit. The only way to rise above it all, right, is to have no interest in either side. My interest is in neither side. My interest is in my big mama told me leave no stone unturned, and my mama told me don't let nobody take my siblings' shit. My sister's shit been took, and I'm giving it back. That's all. Ain't nothing else to it. That's it. That's my entire agenda right there. Big mama told me to get my people's shit back. Mama told me that somebody took my sister's shit and to get it back. My whole agenda is to get their shit back. I don't care what happened after that. I can go live in the woods, in the hut, in the dirt. It don't matter to me. Because when you put the power where it goes, everything gonna run the way it's supposed to run.
So that's a good segue into this next question. But basically, you were just saying, Mama gave you the play. You out here running it. Paige Flowers came with, now since the contract is closed, how long do you think it'll take to establish our tribes and kick the imposters out? It's hard because our people aren't ready to stop working and filing paperwork.
You know, that's a good question, but no man know the day or the hour. That means that the women is more privy to the dates than we are, right? Because they are the ones in control of the earth rights. One of the earth rights is to establish events according to prescribed time frames. If we get enough women to give a deadline date, it can be tomorrow. It's over, right? But they have to do it together in a group, right? And so right now we each want to reach one. We're trying to get information that raises the conscious awareness of the condition.
So is that why they used to have multiple oracles working together to kind of see the vision of what was going to happen? And
yep,
they were all women, but it was like at least 5 or sometimes 3.
So what normally when you see multiple oracles, they all got a different gift. One might be a tarot reader. One might read runes, right? One might be clairvoyant, where they see things. Some of them is clairaudient, where they hear things, right? And some of them is clairkinesthetic, where they feel things. And they learn how to translate the feeling according to experience. Experience of life teaches them how to translate their gift into a term that they can tell you what they seeing, what Big Mama is saying with the oracle, right? Once they do this, you're looking at the same problem with entirely different tools of perception, right? So it's like doing an attack with all of the branches of the military or just one.
Because they have different characteristics and abilities.
Yeah, but
that makes
sense. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but I do know everybody gonna have to go through a rough patch before it get easy.
Darkest before the dawn.
Yep.
Good ass question, Paige. Good question. Somebody said, now why did they report Larry Hoover denouncing the GDs?
Because we growth and development now. We ain't got nothing to do with Gangster Disciples. Gangster Disciples is a government flagged terrorist organization. Growth and Development is a political activist group and a tribal organizing mechanism. 2 different things totally. Right? So remember what Tupac or Biggie said in that sitting in the park about Tupac dying? He said, I gotta take my power. Now, since he gone, I gotta take my power and do what with it? Remember what he said? Flip it. Flip it. Right? So what he mean by that is you take something that they use as our oppression and you flip it. Use it for a come up. Right? We've been changed from Gangster Disciples to Growth and Development. That's not new.
Right. I was gonna say that's been a minute.
But some people hold on to the mob mentality of the ignorant. Whereas if they was Growth and Development, they would be gravitating more to the organizational structure and the rethinking of the problems in the community to solve problems. That's the difference between gangster disciples and growth and development. Those who still identify with the old gangster disciples is the ones doing the dirt, using Larry's name, dirtying up his name. The ones who are growth and development, you might not ever know they growth and development until they say free Larry Hoover. Because it's a whole different topic, a whole different agenda. Growth and development is coming organic from the land up on a new awareness, and the gangster disciple is predicated up on the old awareness of an adolescent mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, remember, Larry was a baby when he got locked up. I was 5 years old when he got locked up. I'm an old ass man now.
Right.
So he has no affiliation with the gangster disciples. That's not all that is a ploy to hold him back in prison. It's to make him say gangster disciple. He have to denounce gangster disciple because he's not gangster disciple no more.
Yeah, he ain't gonna get out if he still repping that too.
Well, that's one thing. And the gangster disciple doesn't stand under the same principles as growth and development. Growth and development is the organization that created the LSD union, the Lord Stone's Disciple Union. Right? Where Angel Bay, Larry Hoover, and a few others was Vice Lord elites was instrumental in trying to get out of that mentality of gang banging and push us to this understanding of what brain banging is. Right? So they don't want us to continuously kill each other in the street using those old monikers. And those old monikers is what the government was using as the tool to enforce COINTELPRO mandates. So if you want to get the leadership back on the land, you have to go from the government's criminal enterprise to the organic land tribal restructure. All he is just the head of the family. Really, to us. To them, he was the leader of the gangster disciples. He's never been the leader of a gang to the family.
Right.
To the family, he's been the leader of the family.
Right.
To the government, he's been the leader of a gang.
And
so
that's that whole to him, to one person, like it's almost like our God is their devil, their devil is our God.
That's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it is. I couldn't have said that no better myself. Because if you want to rule, the people that's the biggest threat to your rule is the people that you want incapacitated or dead. Right? And for some reason, you just can't kill everybody. It's some of us that none of us won't kill.
It's just that protected.
It's that connected to the family. Right? Where certain ones of us can walk into a hostile situation of two opposing factions and say, what the fuck is y'all doing? And they'll listen. Whereas others of us that'll try to do the same shit and they gonna do his ass. Right there on the spot, he ain't gonna make it.
Right.
He got in their business. But it's certain ones of us that when we step into that, hey, cut it out. This is what's going on. Right? They listen. Mm-hmm. We know who each other is, even if we don't consciously know. Subconsciously, we know.
That's real. I saw that the other day. Buddy just walked up on these two kids fighting and stopped the fight. While everybody, it was a big crowd of people just watching them fight. People were trying to stop them from fighting. They wouldn't stop. But he walked up. He was an innocent bystander. Just got off the bus or something. Walked up and said, "Look, y'all fighting for what?" And then made them shake hands after he calmed them down. Made them give each other a hug or something silly like that.
Look, I got a homeboy from Pontiac named Juan Wall. He bless his spirit. He gone to the other side. But me and Juan had crews that beef with each other. We bump into each other in the joint and start talking, kicking, having conversation. And we both agreed that had I known him and had a conversation with him back then, we could have squashed all that bullshit.
But, you know, we ride or die with our homeboys, but we don't take the time to take the leadership position to make sure our homeboys ain't doing no fuckery.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we all got homeboys that start shit, and then we got to come clean it up for them.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we just stop them niggas from starting shit? Seriously.
No, that's real.
You won't need no cleanup, man.
Not at all.
What's next on the questions?
This one is from Boom Man. Should I start a LLC under this system or wait till the system is completely over with? The latter.
I would wait till it's over with. I can only tell you what I would do. Because just because I would do it don't mean that you will or you're supposed to. You're supposed to follow what you feel is right in your heart and make the best decisions you can according to the circumstances and the situation. Right? But I wouldn't build one. I would be doing research right now on the family bank, on the restructuring of the family, trying to find out and assess the talents and the skills of everybody in the family so I can know who to put over the family medical treatment and the treatment of the elders and the women that's pregnant. I know in the family who to put over finance. I know who over family to put over family gathering, what we call the planning committee. I would be trying to find that stuff out for the flip right now because we almost there.
Okay, so one fire one, but I think she took the question. Okay, here it is. Go ahead. You still have some more.
Go ahead.
This one was fire. She said somewhere she noticed that there were where'd it go? I came across some information about women having 5 elixirs that are housed inside the womb. Have you heard of that? And is that true?
It's complicated. Most of that is in the women's archive. I don't have access to some of that information, but some of the women do. That's yoni priestesses. I personally wouldn't answer this question but I would refer to a yoni priestess to answer it. Because even if I did know the answer, when I started talking about what's going on inside of their vagina, in due respect, you should be having the women talk to the women about it.
Mm-hmm. That's real. Okay, here's one. Please interpret why I keep having dreams of me being kidnapped, trapped. I always end up escaping. Topic, but it's dream interpretation.
Yeah, dream interpretation is variables that go with interpreting a dream, right? So you need to get a feel for what a person is going through in their personal life, because the kidnapped and you breaking free could be somebody trying to usurp your power, but you reclaiming your power back. It could be just that simple. Or it could be attached to a bunch of colors and numbers that'll make it have even more detail to the meaning.
Yeah, they really are. Like, I'm getting fired interpreting my own dreams now, to where like pretty much like the first one, the really pivotal one that I had, it took me like a year to understand what it was. It's like but I write my dreams down, either that or put them in a note in my voice notes. And then like a year later, I went back and listened to the dream, and I'm like, oh damn, that's what that was. Because I think I was going through a lot of stress, but literally, I don't know, but I sing. And so I'm just out here like running away from whoever I'm running. And I end up in the back of a church, run through the church, and then run on stage. I guess some act had just finished. Maybe they was having a talent concert. I run on stage, man. And me and the 2 people that were with me start performing. And we start performing Grateful, Grateful. When I'm telling you, Rod, I mean, I'm singing my ass off, like, like the best shit you probably would ever hear. Like, I sound amazing. Not to say my voice ain't fire, but, and I get back.
You were singing in a dream?
Mm-hmm. And I'm talking about in the pews behind me, Rod. So there was the pews down in front of me. There was the stands down in front of me. In front of the stage was just young people dressed like they was going to a Future concert, right? And then up behind me was basically like pews, and